Well, it's time to wrap it up here at the Texas Pinball Festival 2016. It's Sunday morning, and we're about to get ready to pack and head home. But we did get to play a few more games today, John.
Yes, we did, Tim. And, I've been behind the camera most of the time, so this is my first time here out in front. I was talking a little bit, I think, on the video from last night. But for those of you guys who are watching this, basically, we got to go down this morning and play a couple of games we didn't get to play last night, so you saw the video of that. I think the first one we went to was Bright of Pinbot 2.0, which was the Dutch pinball upgrade to Bright of Pinbot, for those of you who are familiar with it. Tim, what did you think of that? I thought it was interesting. Basically, it adds a DMD, and it actually changes up the gameplay quite a bit.
Well, I wasn't as familiar with the gameplay, but I did notice the DMD for sure, and it has a lot of animation and some just really special effects and stuff that, would have been good on any pinball game, but especially on that one. I did notice it did feel like it played different, but since I'm not as familiar with the game as you are, I didn't notice about the gameplay. But the color DMD was definitely an upgrade, and I'm glad to see that they're bringing that around for more of the older classic games.
Yeah, but Tim, and I've played a lot of Bride of Pinbot, guys. I love that game. And for me, I think I would just rather play the original. It is nice to have an upgrade kit, though, for something like Bride of Pinbot, because I can understand gameplay can get repetitive. You might have had a Bride of Pinbot in your lineup, Tim, for years and years and years, and you want a way to change it up, but not necessarily get rid of the game. And if that's the case, I think that Bride of Pinbot 2.0 is a great upgrade and a way to add some variety to your already existing lineup of games that you may have in your house. Kind of like an upgrade kit in a way.
Yeah, but I guess if you, like me, have never owned a Bride of Pinbot, and you'd start off with the original and then maybe upgrade later.
Yeah.
So I understand that.
Absolutely. So then after Bride of Pinbot, Tim, we actually did something that I thought was a good idea. We went and played the original Stern Spider-Man from 2007, 2008-ish, and then we went and played the new Spider-Man Vault Edition, which is the one with the comic book graphics. Basically the same game, Tim, on both sides, except for the fact that one's using the movie license from the 2007-8 range like we talked about, and then one's using the comic book license, basically the same game, reskinned, rethemed. And so, Tim, between the two, was there one that you liked better? What were the differences that you saw between the two games?
Well, you notice that immediately, of course, the graphics and everything are different, although I did like the Vault Edition. As far as just playing the game, the Vault Edition seemed to play better. I'm trying to decide, is it just because it was new and felt really tight, and good, and everything popped and everything. But again, the Vault Edition had the shaker motor, and I really like shaker motors in games, and the older version didn't. So, at times it would rumble, and when I would hit certain shots and everything. So I don't think I scored any higher, but at least it did feel I did like to play better. So if that's something that you're interested in, I definitely I like the original Spider-Man a lot. So it was kind of like an upgrade to me. It was like, okay, this is a little bit better, not a ton, but yeah, I liked it better. It played better to me.
So for people who are Spider-Man fans already, now let's say you already had a Spider-Man in your collection. Would you consider trading it out for a Vault Edition, or would you keep what you had, maybe just do a couple of upgrades to it, mods and things like that?
Oh, no, I would probably just put the shaker motor in it and leave it as is. I mean, it's a great game, and you've got the movie characters that's the stuff people remember. I did think it was really funny, though. There's a lot of little things in the artwork that if I had more time to look at, for instance, the girl in the Vault Edition, instead of saying Old Navy, her shirt says Old Army. And I thought, kind of funny, so there's a few things. But if you didn't own one and you could get them both, or either one, then I'll probably get the Vault Edition.
And I'm with you, Tim. I think the Vault Edition's nice. The only hesitancy I have, and I think we've talked about this on the audio podcast, Tim, for those of you who might be watching, but is the price. The price is a little high on it for me. And so I think it's $6,500, Tim, I think is what the price is, maybe the MSRP on it, which, can get you a Game of Thrones premium if that's what you're looking for. Right. And so that's something to think about. But if you're a big Spider-Man fan and you like the comic book especially, I think it really does work well. The theme is good and everything like that. And to me, I think that Vault Edition will probably be more timeless than the original because the movie assets are already starting to look dated by today's standards, I think. So, but, both good games in their own right, both really fun to play. So, and like I said, playing them back-to-back, we could really tell the difference. And to me, I feel like the Vault Edition was a little bit more dialed in. So it just really depends on what your preference is. And like I said, movie assets, I think, are really going to, I won't say devalue, but I will say it takes a hit on the looks of the game, as we get further and further away from those original movies with Tobey Maguire. So, but I thought it was good. It was fun. So after that, we played, I think, Walking Dead. And, Tim had been looking for a Walking Dead. You'd actually been looking to play one. And we did this at Houston, too. You were looking to play one because you got into the show last year, right? And started catching up and everything. Yeah, exactly. So with that in mind, I mean, you played it again today. What do you still think about that machine?
Well, every pinball game to me starts with a great shot. I still like to plunge the ball. There's hardly a game that you shoot or push a button that I like. It starts right there, and so that first shot to me, I like skill shots and stuff and things like that. I don't like the shot. So when you start off, it's kind of like when you're driving out of the driveway and you turn the wrong way to me. It's like I can get back to where I need to go, but and then after I start playing, I kind of get into it. But when I miss that first shot, and some people probably like the fact that it's different. It's not the normal shot or the normal thing to do. But when I miss that first shot, it kind of throws me off. I'm not really looking ahead. I'm just kind of seeing where I'm at. And so I did like that it had a lot of the, it doesn't really it has a lot of the themes from the movie, like the prison and the TV. I'm sorry, the TV show. Yeah, it does feel like a movie. The TV show, it had the railroad tracks, and those of you who were fans had some zombies and stuff, but it didn't have any of the characters. Michonne, I think, is on there, but there's really not. There's some stuff that if you were to say, hey, I want you to draw what you think a Walking Dead pinball would look like, it probably wouldn't look much like that one. And then it seems like, man, I'm getting drained down the middle. And so I don't know. I want to like it, but I don't really like it that much. For the price, I probably would spend my money on something else.
Now, I will say this. I think the gameplay has improved with the code updates because it seemed like the first version that we played when it first came out, like the magnet shot that's in front of, was it the church there, it would drop it straight down the middle almost every time. Now, and I think we talked about this at Houston, it kind of kicks it around before it drops it down to you. So you have a little bit more flexibility. Getting the extra ball is not difficult, not as difficult as some games. And so for me, I'm able to get that extra ball almost every time I play, which really does benefit me from a scoring standpoint later on. And so for me, I do like the way it plays. I'm not crazy about the theme, I guess because I don't watch the show. But I like it. I do like it. I don't know if it's my favorite. I think, especially after playing Ghostbusters this weekend, I think Ghostbusters I like much better.
Down. Yeah, that's not even a competition.
Yeah, so Ghostbusters to me is a lot more fun. But if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, I mean, it definitely ties into the theme quite well, I think.
Especially, different people have different themes for their game room or their house. You kind of have a superhero theme, so I'm sure you'd rather have the Spider-Man. And mine would be more 80s or something, so I like the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and I think it just comes down to what your preferences are. Now, after this, we actually went over to the Multimorphic booth, Tim, and, last night on the